And we're back because Pollock the Merchant has returned. Now, before I said that he was an annual arrival, and I think I even said that in my guide to Monster Rancher 4, I was wrong. He actually shows up several times throughout the year, but if you end up on an adventure during the time when he's there, I think you can miss him. I could be wrong, or I could just be misremembering. Again, a lot of my observations were anecdotal, and therefore prone to human error. Or Snekish error. Now, thankfully... Oh, he already appraised it, right. He has a gadget that we want, which I believe is... I thought it was a life tablet. Why do we not have another option? Okay, whatever. Give me the book. We're gonna need this, and I don't think I can afford much else. I hope I can fit this. 1 by 2. Okay, it should be fine. I'll put it opposite the sandbag. I could fit the life blade, and that would be good for Frog. I thought he had another one show up, but I guess that one was just to demonstrate how those worked. Alright, we're gonna put the life blade down. Guess I'll stuff it in this hole. So I believe it's a 1 by 1. Yeah. There we go. That way we should have gadgets that suit all of our monsters' needs now. Thank you, sir. Now... we're still just in the middle of training. We're probably going to go on another adventure soon, just to see if we can get some more monster attacks, because honestly all 3 are kind of hurting for them. And I can probably start... no, they're on their way. I think these 3, Titania and Frog are ready to start clearing out the E rank. I'm not going to show repeat battles, though, because a lot of Monster Rancher 4 is grinding at those lower ranks because you need the star points. But when Jimmy starts moving up, which should be soon, I think once accuracy and speed hit 200, I'm going to let him tackle the D rank. Then we're going to zoom back in on them. So unless anything interesting happens, I'll be seeing you next at the monster battle. But you never know what's going to happen, so we'll keep our eyes open. Well, this is embarrassing. I kind of forgot this was a thing. And yes, Titania got knocked out, someone got a lucky shot in on her, but this is actually important, so... This is just the return trip to the caves, by the way. The game doesn't actually warn you this is here. This place is kind of strange. Yes, there's something about it. My old friend, can you hear me? Who is that? Much time has passed since your former adventures, but it seems the world needs you once again. What's happening? Where are you? Now I am a stone fragment formed in the lands of Gaia. A Gaia stone, if you will. This is very interesting, especially when you consider that the magic stone in the Monster Rancher anime was referred to as a Gaia stone. I don't think there's any particular connection. I've talked about that a bit in my Lore of the Monster Rancher universe video. I think this is probably just a continuity nod, if anything, since the anime has left such a huge impact on the franchise. You will understand all soon enough. What's up, Rio? Wow, what a beautiful stone. Yes, I'm going to take it with me. Rio, what is it? I'm okay, sorry. Rio, let's go home for the day. Yeah. Just what was that? Actually, Titania didn't even take that much fatigue from being knocked out, but... what can you do? Life goes on. Hey, Snek! Is Snek home? Pollock, you look awfully excited. What's going on? Are your training gadgets working alright? What? Why wouldn't they be? There's a geonite shortage in these parts. Gadget stopped working on all the ranches. Shortage of geonite? We seem to be doing fine, at least right now. Well, thank goodness, but most of the ranches can't train their monsters. Official competition may be cancelled for the time being. What, really? Shoot, at a time where everybody is trying so hard. Well, don't worry, I'm gonna look into this. Bye then. Now that he mentions it, I have noticed my body feeling a bit strange lately. But I'm no run-of-the-mill spirit tree. I'm tough. Will it be okay? I wonder if the training gadgets use too much geonite. Rio, realistically speaking, think about the scope of our operation. We have 3 monsters, and it's kind of debatable as if certain ones actually use any geonite at all. Things like the life blade is literally just a balance bar, so that probably doesn't. And the punching bag also probably doesn't. Only ones that require some form of automation or power would. We're probably one of the lowest geonite user ranches in the region, I should think. No, it's not exactly that. It's like the geonite is being sucked down through my roots. Your roots? You use the cave to check underneath here. Let's do a little exploration. Sounds good. We'll be back soon, Makuruji. I'd actually forgotten about that little interlude step, but I'm going to train up just a little bit, and then we're going to head back underground and see what's going on. In the downtime, I might have Frog and Titania start fighting, because we've actually gotten some good monster attacks now. But yeah, we'll jump ahead to when the excitement starts again. So the time has come. It's been a few weeks. We've been steadily powering up, and Jimmy and Titania have had some luck in their respective ranks. Frog, I'm a little less confident in, but we'll see how that goes. But it's time to hit the adventure wholeheartedly. Now, obviously, as the story event implied, there's going to be something a little different happening this time. This is going to be generally true for each dungeon. You'll visit it for story-based reasons more than once. And eventually, you'll stop finding new story events. You can still find items and level up there, no problem. But a lot of the adventures are more story-driven, which is actually part of Monster Rancher 4's general design philosophy and its advertising, at least here in the West. The promotional art was of the Suezo, with a Durahan and the main character reflected in his eyes, saying, "Adventure is in the eye of the beholder," reflecting the game's more action-oriented focus. So you couldn't find anything. Well, that happens. Just because you have a search ability does not mean it will work 100% of the time. This, oh, it is. I didn't realize that. We actually have a couple different investigative abilities. Wow, that's really bad luck. Oh well. Jimmy has cave search. And Frog actually has dirt search. We have some capacity to explore around in the caves. Excellent. Obtain pheromone. Mustard fairy dust. Let's have a look at that. Oh, mid-range move. Excellent. That is precisely what the doctor ordered. Tanya and Jimmy have been learning some pretty good moves. Frog, on the other hand, has learned none. I'm not exaggerating, by the way. Well, okay, I'm exaggerating a little, but since he's supposed to be an intelligence-type monster, this is literally all he has going for him. So, I don't know if Mushtan just has weird stats for a plant, and I'm just misremembering, but yeah, it's a little frustrating. But generally, in a team of 3 or 5, you're going to end up with one deadbeat. That was actually the case when I was, when I last... Oh! The treasure box was a Jack-in-the-Cho. First time that's happened. Every now and then this will happen, where a treasure chest is actually a monster. It's actually just a rare Pancho. I really hate Final Guts. Seeing as how it will pretty much always work for them and never for you. Yeah, he wasn't even nice enough to drop an item. Oh well. Yeah, that's actually a thing, and I'm going to talk about it more at length when we get there. But in the next game, that actually is going to be one of the most frustrating things that can conceivably happen. And yet, paradoxically, chests are completely worthless in the next game, so... Once again, I'll cover that more later. Yeah, my completionist senses are tingling. It's Schrodinger's treasure box, because if you haven't explored that room, that is the room that's going to have the treasure chest and the best stuff in it. But if you have explored every possible room, at the very least you have peace of mind of knowing that, well, your garbage can then subsequently be sold. Or, you know, you get nothing, as was the case with this one. It's kind of a jog, but hey, sometimes that happens. You'll see recurring kinds of parts of the map, but they'll be assembled in different fashions and connect to different areas, and yeah, I actually think it's kind of a neat system. It's a less is more approach. Yeah, I think those bats are two-dimensional. I don't think they actually have any polys. I think it's just a flat 2D animation that comes down with them. Whoops. End of the road. I would need a flying monster like a dragon for this. So, well, I guess that opens Schrodinger's treasure chest, right? I'll fast forward this bit for your benefit. If I remember to. Or I might just make it go through it like normal. Depends on how sadistic I'm feeling at the time. I mean, you might be wondering, I was just about to say, what's up with that, encounter rate, but sometimes that happens. Sometimes you'll just have long, dry stretches where nothing happens, and then other times, you'll get attacked every other step. There's really no telling. Teddy bear. We just beat up a Beaklon and stole his teddy bear. That's terrible. Oh well, ours now, I guess. Fire kick is actually not a fire move by default. However, it actually has I think a A-rank accuracy. So I put the fire lore ability on it in order to up its overall damage, so I've been using it as my intro move since fights always begin at the mid-range. It gives it so that Jimmy always has an intro move. It takes a lot of guts, but man, are the results satisfying. That's another thing I just really like about Force Combat System, is like the sound effects, the animations, it's all very cathartic. You get that satisfying whoosh of the impact, you know? Alright, now we'll just hang a left, and we'll be on to the next floor. You might notice that we also have a lot more energy. I don't know how energy is calculated, but it goes up really fast over the course of the game as your monsters get stronger. And if you're wondering what my plan is going to be and when I don't clear the game with the first generation, well, don't overly worry about that too much. I'll do a lot of any necessary grinding off-screen. But I'll also take into consideration the previous votes put on the last video for future monster options. You guys had some really great ideas, and it's a shame that I can't get to them all. Even if I raised 5 monsters at a time, I still wouldn't have enough room. That said, that's not something I typically do. General rule. I think 5 is a little overwhelming, and there's no tournament that can actually support 5 monsters, so... There's singles, tags, which is 2s, and group tournaments, which are 3s. But I do not believe there's ever any tournament that goes higher than that. So again, I think 3 is a very comfortable number. The only reason you would really want to raise 5 is if you were deliberately raising fusion partners, because monsters will eventually become friends with each other, and monsters who are friends or famous, and both, preferably, have a higher overall fusion compatibility. That's because Monster Rancher 4's fusion is a little more robust. Nice. And I'll talk more about that later. But they did a lot of stuff with Monster Rancher 4's overall mechanics that really enhance on the overall design from the previous installments. For those of you who are relatively new to the channel and don't know why I particularly have a beef with Monster Rancher 3, I've beaten the game 100% front to back twice, and I still hate it. It is, up and away, the worst Monster Rancher title, barring the spin-offs like Monster Rancher Hop About would be like the only game I would rank lower than Monster Rancher 3. Hate that game so much. But the thing with 3 is they tried something new and it didn't work, but it's like not even really respectable in the way they did it. The story-wise, it's very interesting because it adds a legacy and like an ancient history to the Monster Rancher world that we didn't previously have. So that's really cool. So it acts as like a prequel for everything that's happened up to that point, because in Monster Rancher 1, you can find gods of Flaria, Bragma, and Gatomon, and for a while we were just kind of like, well, who the heck were they? Well, Monster Rancher 3 answers that. Flaria being your assistant in that game, Gatomon being your rival, and Bragma being the Shrine Keeper who ultimately taught non-Tochikans how to unlock monsters. So story-wise, I think Monster Rancher 3 is really significant and really cool. Mechanically, Monster Rancher 3 is so hair-pullingly frustrating. They remove the accuracy stats, so accuracy hinges exclusively on your attacks. And I didn't even know how you got new attacks for a while. I actually had people in the comment sections explain to me the jewel system. And honestly, it's entirely possible to beat the game without them. Oh, okay, that's perfect for Jimmy. It's entirely possible to beat the game without ever getting new attacks, and the way you do that is you raise a monster, you deliberately kill it so that you get its heart crystal, because there's no fusion in 3, which really sucks, and then you just feed the heart crystal to a hanger, and the hanger is so powerful it will beat the game guaranteed. So that's how you can... That is my guide to Monster Rancher 3. If you must play it, like, that's how you do it. One of the things that actually has been really interesting to me is how much of the ancient internet was wrong about these games. Like, I've run into so many situations where I'd have, like, the old archived guides from MonsterRancher.com, and so much of that information is out of date now, and, like, people have found workarounds to the Kalaragi glitch in Monster Rancher 3. Like, that's not the Endrunner, the run ender that it used to be. And all this other stuff, and so much, like, several of the unlocks I did in Monster Rancher Advance 2 were wrong. I'm not going to mention several of those along the way. So you guys dodge, you're just setting yourselves up to get hit even harder. Like, it's really irritating when you guys just try to be cute about this. My usual strategy is defeat them before they get an attack off, and might as well stop attacking. When they go into that state, you might as well just stop, because you're basically just not going to hit them at that point. I mean, there's unlimited time, which has its upsides. I've seen a lot of different varying opinions. Yeah, he was already defeated, but thanks for that. Thanks for jumping in there, Frog. You really helped out. That's another thing that I think is really interesting, and one of those moments in the Monster Rancher fandom where you get some really interesting and varied opinions is some people prefer the games where the timer keeps going but your guts isn't regenerating when an attack is being executed. And some people prefer the games where both are happening, and then some would prefer that neither happen. And especially when your countdown timer is only 60 seconds, you know, every second is precious. You gotta make it count. If you're wondering what I'm doing, sometimes treasure chests can spawn in the room you spawn in. So I sweep the camera around to make sure I don't overlook them. And yeah, and I had actually announced on my Twitter feed that I was going to participate in the last official Monster Cup, and then I actually didn't get the chance to. Life got in the way. It happens. I didn't really have time, and I wasn't really playing Monster Ranchers 1 and 2 DX at the time. I mean, I still play games for fun, stuff that I'm not doing specifically for you guys, but a lot of my gaming time now revolves around that. And I think that's really cool. I'm glad that you guys have really enjoyed these Let's Plays and everything that we've experienced together, if I can put it that way. That sounds a little intimate, right? Alright, I've meandered kind of off topic for a while because this is kind of familiar territory by now, but yeah, Monster Hunter 4, like, I remember someone posted a thing, it's like, oh, Gold All Soul Sword. That's vendor trash. Pretty pricey vendor trash, if I recall correctly. Someone had posted a thing saying something along the lines of, like, whatever game you put into your console is the world outside your door. What world do you walk out into? And I was like, Monster Hunter 4. Absolutely no question whatsoever. Monster Hunter 4. And I would never come back. I would be that isekai protagonist. Like, nope, bye. This world is so much better. I have no interest on coming back now. You guys can keep it. Ah, that's so satisfying when it works. There's always like a particular way you have to approach these things, or you don't get the prompt. There it is. Alright, fly on up there. Nice. Ooh, old tablet. Usually it would give you a stat. I didn't think I'd have to explain this already. Most of the tablets have a stat associated with them, like it's a strength tablet, or a speed tablet, or a life tablet. That tells you the kind of machine that you're going to get from it. If it's an old tablet, or I believe a gold and silver tablet, you get things that aren't true gadgets, but instead have secondary effects that impact your ranch. Like, one of the things you can get is a well that reduces the accumulation of stress on the ranch. Stuff like that. And honestly, that's probably what this one is, because I remember that appearing fairly early in the game. Oop, got a cave over there. Some of these caves are being really broad and open all of a sudden. Wouldn't this be a sinkhole liability? I guess it depends on the story, right? No dice. Alright, let's go this way first, I guess. We're already over here. Hiding. Yeah, you might notice that, like, our energy is pretty generous, and even though we're already 4 floors down, we're only about a third through our energy. That's generally how it will go if your monsters are anywhere close to the proper power level of the expedition. You will generally not run into situations where you're in danger of running out. I'm speaking broadly because I've seen it happen. And there is an emergency button. There's you hit square, you have the emergency eject to ranch, but like Carnab said, there's a price to be paid. A pixie gets final guts. That's probably Maya heritage, I would assume. I don't think pixies on their own usually get that. Dirt search. Now, a thing you might be wondering, because I showed this menu earlier and it just hit me. When it fills up, what happens if you get another trait? Well, that's the cool part, because you actually get to custom pick which ones you keep and which ones you get rid of. Now, you can't do it in bulk, but say after this he got let's say Windlore, since that's one I'm really hoping he gets. I could then go through this and be like, oh, I don't need Dirt Search. I already have Dirt Search on Frog. I can get rid of Dirt Search and take Windlore instead. So it gives you further customization. So if your monster ends up picking up undesirable traits, you can actually get rid of them. You are not forever stuck with them, basically. I'm gonna head north real quick and that path on the left. Like, this is one huge branch. Like, there's an entire another leg of this cave we haven't seen yet. If you're like, oh, I wonder if Snek's going to explore them all. Yes, Snek is going to explore them all. Actually, it looks like this might be a wraparound. This could be a golden opportunity. What the? Why does this look weird? I know it's just a rock, but like the way it's animated versus the textures on the walls, you guys see that, right? And that's not just me. Okay, camera, how about you cooperate with me? It stands out from the environment, right? Like it's a search point. Leave a comment down below and tell me if I'm crazy. Yeah, looks like this is actually going to wrap around. This is like legit. You might be wondering why I care so much. Well, it's a good way of getting money in the early game. And it's not like money's not forthcoming. Most tournaments will never give you less than 800 gold, which is not inconsiderable. Even if you're feeding your monsters really high-end foods like beef and watermelon, that'll still get you a couple things. Broadly speaking, you should. Generally, the more expensive foodstuffs generally are better. It really is a matter of getting what you pay for. If you're wondering why I'm really not using Frog or Titania, it's just safest bet. They're still getting XP. That was kind of a bust. I was hoping for a little bit more than that. Multiple search things can show up in the same room, so it's good to not assume. I don't know if there's a max or a minimum, but I mean, you never know what you're gonna get, and that's part of what makes it so much fun. Really? Of course. Jimmy. Okay, one of the things I will say that is frustrating about Monster Rancher 4 is monsters have certain quirks. That stuff like bullish or timidity. Those never 100% go away, even if the monster is at 100% bond. Now, they'll show up a lot less, but I've seen monsters with completely maxed out bonds continue to do that. And it can be one of the most infuriating things in the world. And I get it, it's supposed to show that the monster is not just like a robotic arm essentially attached to their tamer and then forced to do their bidding without any questions asked. So it shows there's some individuality there. But it is infuriating if that's the case. I mean, at max bond, at the very least, at max bond, have it stop being a thing. Like, just have an inverse ratio proportion of chance for it to occur versus bonding. So at 100% bonding, it just stops. Machine gun. That actually probably is a good move for him. Let's have a look. Whoops. Alright, we're getting some moves worth having. We can turn this around. Frog will be good at this rate. I've doubted my monsters in the past, and they've ended up actually becoming really great, so I mean... That's actually an important lesson to take to heart if you're getting into these games for the first time. Don't let their behavior as babies necessarily fool you into thinking that's how they'll always be. Because sometimes that is true. I had a worm that would fight me at every step of the way. if he had the smallest bit of fatigue, he just did not want to do anything. And when I cracked down on him, he'd run away for like a week, and then come back a week later, all tired, and like, oh, you have to let me rest now. And I'm like, you stupid worm, what did you do? Run away to my neighbor's yard, take a nap, and just wait for the monster patrol to bring you home? If you're wondering if those bats do anything, they don't. They're just ambient. This is the deepest exploration we've had of the Toggle Cave so far. And if you're curious about the continuity, the Toggle region is actually under Fimba jurisdiction. I want to say 5's as deep as this one will ever go. Jalodon. That was actually, I think, one of the ones I got voted for. That said, Monster Rancher 4 is also kind of quirky in the series, especially as, like, it just gives you monsters that you'd otherwise have to unlock, and in one case forces you to unlock a monster that the game otherwise just gives you. And it's actually kind of weird in that respect. Like, in Monster Rancher 1, it's generally implied that the rarest monster in the world is a dragon/hinger, the Techno Dragon. I believe its book entry even says something to that effect. And part of that... Ooh, rose perfume. That sells for a lot. I think 2,500, I want to say? But yeah, it's implied to be the rarest monster. And even the Hinger Dragon that shows up in Monster Rancher 2 is said to be pretty obscure. But in Monster Rancher 4, you can start the game with it. There's no limitation on monster sizes the way there are in older games. A bone. That's like 10 gold. Oh well, 10 gold I didn't have before, I guess. But, yeah, you could, like, start with Dragon Hinger in Monster Rancher 4. And you don't have to unlock dragons or hingers. They're just there. Ditto with, like, Zans and Jokers and a bunch of other stuff that you would otherwise have to earn. I think it shows kind of a departure of previous mentality, because a lot of the unlocks you've seen me do in this Let's Play series have been really cryptic. Not good. Stop. This is a Modillo, by the way. They're actually really strong monsters. I've raised one. In fact, one of the amusing things is I actually had a DVD that unlocked a rare version of them. You would get a Turtle Fiend one that had a, like, Mr. Fuji or something, and it was basically a Kappa. But you would get it by unlocking the first live-action Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles film, which was an amusing little Easter egg, to be sure. I don't know why that one guy was giving us so much trouble. Jimmy has like 200 in power and accuracy. Whoops. Well, that's the end of that line. Yeah, Jimmy should be doing better than this. I don't remember this being more than, I believe, D rank in difficulty. Which makes me nervous, but I think we can handle this next leg just fine. Yarn ball. Now that's like 25 gold, I think. I think one of the most important takeaways is if you get the chance to play Monster Rancher 4 for the first time, I think it's not a bad place to start, but it may not be the best. And speaking of... Whoa, is he angry? No, he's talking to us. Please, Snek, leave this to me. Are you the one using the Geonite around here? I mean, it sure looks like it, given the roots and that weird effect. Like, here's the thing. We don't really know what Geonite is. The Lone Ranger actually made it a point to ask me this at one point, and it's just like, is Geonite like a liquid? Is it a solid? Like, I think it's a gel or like a semi-solid, but we don't really know what it is, and we don't really know what creates it, but apparently it can be used as fuel, so shrug. I've lived off Geonite for ages, rah. But why have you suddenly started using so much Geonite? The increased flow of Geonite woke me up. Now I need lots of Geonite to stay awake. But you're causing people a lot of trouble. Please, sleep once again. Ah, never. Watch out. Get back, Rio. So, that thing I was just talking about, that thing I wanted us to be prepared for, it's this. Oh, I do not like how high his attack rate is right now. Let's go for it. Of course. Got to be kidding me. That is not doing enough damage. The thing with bosses is their entire row is usually just one string of the same attack. Thankfully, the bosses also tend to burn guts really fast. You know what? Timidity in this one case kind of makes sense, given what we're dealing with. But I really need you to, like, do something now. Oh my god. Whatever deity presides over the Monster Rancher universe is really just determined to make this as painful as possible. Again, this is another one of those infinite time fights. If I had all three monsters still alive, there's even a thing that can happen during these fights called Team Up. This is a disaster. And he's gonna hit her, and that's gonna be it. I do not remember ever having troubles with this fight before. Literally never. It's like I can't land a hit on him. Stop, you stupid code. I've never had this fight end up such a crapshoot before. I actually don't know what poison does. I legit don't know. I don't know if it does damage over time, or if it impacts his stats any. At this point, I'm just throwing spaghetti at the wall to see what sticks. This is just bad RNG versus bad RNG. This is terrible. This is the worst I've ever performed in this fight. I think the very first time I played this game, I think I did better against this boss fight than I am right now. But I mean, that's my curse, right? Given that I'm doing a Let's Play. Because my idiot monster didn't listen to me. Do something! That is so frustrating! I mean, we're probably going to lose because Frog has been pretty much completely worthless since the day of his creation. But I'm going to try, you know? Yeah, that's about what I figured. Now, thankfully I saved before that, so I'll see you guys next time.